by the band. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think to put my response to it, I think a lot of what you said is true. I mean, they were at that point they were very much a cult following band, cult
Back then.
audience status.
Yeah.
I mean, once they hit moving pictures, like their sales like
Oh,
quadrupled at that
sure.
point, and then they entered that whole new stratosphere of audience and touring because they
Hmm.
were no longer special guests, or they were when they were headlining, they weren't headlining like medium halls. They were now moving up to playing like Maple Leaf Gardens and the Forum and LA
Yeah.
Forum and stuff like that, because now they had that kind of audience now,
Yeah.
right? But back then they were still, you know, they were headlining small to medium halls, and they were mainly going on tours and being the special guests. So which people
Hmm.
don't, if they don't understand what that means, is usually on a tour you have three bands usually. You have the main band, which is the headliner. You have the opening band, which is usually like some first album band or a not
Hmm.
popular band, which gets like 30 minutes, and then the special guest is usually the band that maybe gets like 45 minutes to maybe an hour, and
Hmm.
they're on before the direct, they call it the direct support to the main
Yeah.
band. And that's what Rush was around at that time, right? Once they started doing like Farewell to Kings and stuff like that, they were still doing that, but they started doing their own tours more at that time. But 2112 was the last tour that they were, doing both
Hmm.
direct support and their own headlining. Um, you were right. They sold 3 million in uh, the U.S. They went triple platinum. It went double platinum in Canada,
Hmm.
and I believe it's a gold album in the UK, which is
Hmm.
100,000 albums sold, which is not bad.
Not
I mean,
bad.
but that's
There.
but that's their ranking even now for that
Yes.
for those albums. Um, Again, I agree that there's a lot of people that maybe don't get Rush at that time. The response to them was always mixed. I think Geddy Lee even said himself that he even just stopped bothering reading the reviews because it was always the same stuff said all the time. And he said, really,
Right.
what did the reviewers really give them? Nothing. I mean, he was, as long as the fans were happy and they came out, that's what they were mainly concerned about, obviously, right? So, um, I think it's a good record. I think it did what it needed to do. Um,
Yeah.
it's not going to be a 5 for me. For me, it's going to be a 3.5 again for this, because
Okay.
I don't think that um, it was as impactful as maybe history makes it sound to be. Because I mean, if you go
Hmm.
back to that time period, yeah, they were considered, I think back then, that cool band. You know what I equate it to? I
Yeah.
equate it to this: Metallica. Like when Metallica was doing Master of Puppets, you had your core audience that people loved them. They would go
Hmm.
to war for these guys. But as soon as Metallica made their Black album and they became huge, those
Right.
people were like, ugh, now everybody likes our
They
band.
dropped
You know what
off.
I mean?
Yeah.
And those people started going
Yeah.
away. Right.
Yeah.
I
That
think that
happens.
at this point they were that band. They were like that really uber cool band that a certain sect of people knew about and were kind of cool that only they knew about it, and they kind of laughed at those people like,
Exactly.
you don't know about Rush, you guys are idiots. So I
Exactly.
think that was the status of them at that point. So I'm going to give it a 3.5.
Okay.
All right. So
So
Pink
Pink
Floyd.
Floyd. Yeah. Go.
Okay. Pink Floyd to me, I can summarize this by just telling you one thing. Just give me
Hmm.
1 second here, and really, it should never only boil down to this, but I mean, as far as impact, nothing tells you more about impact than sales. I mean,
Oh.
Argentina,
Yeah.
double platinum. Australia, 14 times platinum. Canada, 2 times diamond, which means it's a 2 million seller, that album,
Hmm.
okay? 4 times platinum in Italy, 16 times platinum in New Zealand, 14 times platinum in the United Kingdom, 15 times platinum in the United States, okay? I mean,
Yeah.
they even said here, like in Poland, it's platinum. In the Czech Republic, it's gold, 50,000 copies. In France, it's platinum, 2 million albums sold. I mean, really, even if we didn't have those numbers, I think that it's safe to say that the impact that that album had then and even has now, I still think dwarfs 2112's impact on the music world. I think if you were to huddle up, 50 bands from every country in this world and put them all in one room, from everywhere from South Africa to Taiwan to Finland to Chile to Canada, and you put all these bands together in one room and say, "Have you heard of Rush 2112?" Some of them would say, "Maybe not." If you were to go to them and say, "Have you heard Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon?" I guarantee you, the vast majority of them would probably say yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that the public opinion on this is a no-brainer. In my opinion, I think that I would give it a 5.
Yep. I agree with you, and I did give it a 5 for the same reasons. Plus, and like some of the other stats that you're talking about, all those sales. But just look at this. Just for instance, there's a 2011, which is not that long ago, right? 2011 charts, and it actually got to number 12 on the U.S. Billboard 200 in 2011. Now, how the heck does that happen?
Yeah.
So obviously it's a re-release to get up there and do that. 2005, 2006, it's still on many charts throughout the world. Austria, for instance, Italian or Italy. Italian albums. It's number 2 in 2003. So that must have been one of the re-releases in 2003 press. Actually, I think that's the other one I have. I have a 2003, repress of that. Where I think they remastered it. So that plus the fact that if, like I said earlier when we were talking, 900 weeks on the Billboard chart, it did go to number 1 in the U.S. when it came out. So it did go to number 1. And the other thing here, and you were talking about all the sales for all the different, platinum status, gold, diamond, so on. It sold 45 million copies to date. So that is one of the top selling albums of all time. I think it's probably in the top 10 or 20 albums of all time. I mean, it's just you can't.
I mean, I don't know.
There's nothing that really comes close to it,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact figures right now of Rush 2112, but I can guarantee you it's not anywhere close to that. Like, not even close.
No, I think it is the 3 million mark. And it may be more than that, but I don't think it's sold much more than that.
I think that because if you take the 3 and the 2, that's 5. Okay, I mean the 45 million is a global number for Pink Floyd, right? So I think that if you were to add in all the other numbers from Rush, I mean maybe they get 8. Okay, but I mean Floyd, I mean 45 million copies, that's a lot of albums sold.
Yeah. So that's why, again, that's a 5 for me, just like you. I mean, it's just amazing. So now we have to, I guess you have to do the totals.
Yeah, and I have the totals here. The verdict is in, and without much surprise, Floyd is the winner. But I'll give you our numbers because, believe it or not, after all this discussion that we had about this, you would think that it would be a big landslide victory for Pink Floyd. And it really wasn't, because if you look at your score and my score, my score for Rush was 21 out of a possible 25, right? So 21 and 25. And my ranking for Floyd was 23 out of 25. Okay. So that only won by 2 points. Now yours, your ranking came in for Rush. You gave it you got 22 out of 25.
Yep. 22.
And 23 for Floyd.
Yeah, just by one. Yeah.
So by one, it won for you, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, Pink Floyd is the winner and will advance into the next round of the East-West Vinyl Analysis Classic Album Showdown. Who will it face? We don't know, because we'll have to do a couple of more of these preliminary rounds and see what it'll be. But I'm very optimistic that this album will go a few rounds. I think it's that strong a record that whoever it goes up against, with maybe only a few exceptions I can think of, that might give it a real hard battle. But in closing, what do you think? You think that the album will get much further in the ranking?
Well, I think so. But you know what? Again, you and I, we both have our favorites, which could bend things a bit. I mean, this is kind of a progressive. We may be looking at some other, more, hard rock, straight ahead hard rock, heavy metal,
and that's the thing.
Or just rock itself. It's some things you just can't compare straight ahead with each other. And that's where the album, still may go on and do well, or it may not. It all depends on our own feelings on the other music that is in our collection.
And that's the thing. What I was going to say is that it's not going to just be, just one type of music. It's not going to be just progressive music. It's going to be, lots of things. It could be an Elvis record. It could be a Beatles record. It could be a Carpenters album. It could be an ABBA record. It could be, a Scorpions record. It could be a Motley Crue. Who knows, But the possibilities are endless. And, all it takes sometimes in these kind of competitions is for one band to make a surprise advancement and get placed with another record that may not be as high up in comparison, and next thing you know, a strong album gets knocked out.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I listen to Rush. I'll pull out and listen to 2112 probably 10 times to Pink Floyd's 5 times or something like that. It's just my preference. You have to be in the right mood, I think, in a way for the Pink Floyd album to listen to it. But having said that, still, just based on all the qualities of it and everything else, that's it. It just edged out 2112.
Yep, exactly. So let's leave it at that, and we will come back maybe next time we do this. And,
with 2 more albums.
With 2 more albums, and we will continue this. I really like this concept, and I think that we should really dig deep into these records like we did with these 2. And what will the next 2 be? And of course, for all you people who watch, put down your comments. What do you think? You think we were right? What are your rankings out of 5 for the categories that we talked about? Yeah. Do you see it differently?
What albums should we could compare? If you have any suggestions.
There you go. If you have any suggestions for albums that should battle it out, let us know. And you never know, your selection might get picked, and we'll do it that month. So then let's leave it at that, my good friend. So on behalf of myself and Mr. Ken Keenan, thank you very much for watching the East-West Vinyl Analysis, and we will see you all very soon. Bye for now.